Mhm.
There you go.
You are ready to go.
Hello, everybody, calling this meeting to order at 7:01 on Tuesday night. Monday night, April 14th. I'm ahead of myself. I'd like to welcome all of our viewers at home. And I always joke about there being thousands of them, but we do appreciate you watching from home. And if you are spending the time to do that, we appreciate that.
I think our viewership is down tonight since it's such a lovely evening after all the rain.
It's always the
agree on
case, but
that. It's
somewhere someone will watch this down the road. Appreciate us welcoming them. Sorry. So our first item is order to approve the minutes from February and March.
Mhm.
Does anybody have any edits to February?
Can I ask a question just to refresh my memory? Alvin, is February the one that you came in late to? Was that March?
No, I was away.
You were,
February.
okay, because when I didn't see you there, I was trying to remember
Yes,
which
I was-
meeting
I
was
was-
which one.
I was
Okay,
away.
just double checking. I'm sure Stephanie would have caught that, but I was just wondering, okay. Thank you.
No, I'll move to approve the February minutes.
For a second.
Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Minutes passed unanimously for March minutes.
I will make a motion to approve the March minutes as presented.
I'll second
Second.
that motion.
Favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Who's the second? So it's Custer and I kind of did it
No,
at
it
the
was
same
me
time.
and Costa.
Okay, because I said it at the same
Oh,
time as
okay.
Custer, so I want to make sure Stephanie hears that.
I don't think Stephanie's, I think,
For the recording. she'll get
Oh,
the
for the
recording.
recording, I'm sorry. Got you.
Mhm. That's right. No problem.
So we have moved on now to item C, Friends of the Flint.
Thank you,
Annie?
Mark.
Thank you.
So, since our annual campaign started, which was mid-January, through March, we've brought in $10,705 from our annual campaign. And in addition to that, for FY 2025, we brought in grants of $17,200. So we're tracking very well. One of the interesting things that I've noticed in doing it is that this year, 36% of the people who have given to us so far are new. So they've never given to the library before. And I did a little investigating because I was just wondering why. And I think the main credit goes to the outreach and the impact that that's had in the community. Whether it's Loretta or your staff, there are just more people who know about us, so when they see the insert in the census, you know, they're like, oh, wow. We had a particularly big group from, Fuller Pond, Burncroft, like several of the communities that are 55 plus, and a lot of people from Mill Street. So that's very exciting, because, you know, obviously we want our people who give to us regularly, but then to add people is really great for us.
Great news.
And the library will be a presence at Earth Day on Sunday, May 4th. And the committee voted on Wednesday that we will not have a table at the town meeting as we've done before. We're gonna take a break and see what kind of feedback we get. There were a couple of people last year that said, when we were handing out water and stuff, oh, you should take it because your taxes pay for this.
Mm.
So, you know, and obviously they don't, the friends pay for it. So we're just trying to kind of take a break and see what kind of feedback we get. And that's it.
Annie, you mentioned 36%, new people. What's the, sorry,
The trend
the repeat rate? So of the people that gave last year, how many have given this year too?
Like 65%. So we definitely, and what we do is we send out a reminder postcard, so people who've given in the last 3 years but haven't given this year, they get a postcard that says, you know, we miss you,
Okay,
just as a reminder, so we'll do that. And last year, when we did the reminder postcard, we got over $2,500 in addition, which
okay.
was terrific. And sometimes it's just, we have a lot of people who go to Florida, so they missed it,
Yeah.
or they forgot, or they put it somewhere in. I'm all set, thank you.
Thank you, that's great news.
Yeah, great.
Thank you to all of our donors.
Yes.
Really exciting stuff, really helps our programs and everything that we do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's us
Thank
trying to
Too wobbly.
make sure our viewing public is awake and alert. Get a little Blair
Looked like
Witch.
we had a
Blair Witch effect.
small earthquake in the library.
Yeah, I know.
Not sure everybody's gonna recognize the Blair Witch reference there. Aging myself. Okay, great news. Thank you. Is that,
I'll set.
that's everything? Great. We are. Item D is the trustees report. Update on high school scholarship. So, I just wanted to make everybody aware that, I have yet to connect with our, winner from last year. I'm sorry, I've connected, we've not connected in person. They're not for lack of, trying, we've had some time on the calendar, but, I want to continue to pursue that. So there is still that $1,000 in the bank that will need to be, dispensed, and then we have to deal with the interest that's probably accrued since then. It's gonna be
Pennies.
I understand that, but
So,
I just want to make you aware, and
yeah,
former treasurer.
it's when you connect with this person, if you can give her $1,000.10 to take care of everything, do it.
I was gonna, okay, that's why I wanted to bring this up, is that,
I need to know the exact.
well, yeah, when we finally-
Over.
yeah, when we finally
Yeah,
connect, right, yeah, I'm sure they won't complain, but I want to make sure there's nothing out of,
Over a penny, you get a check for more than
No.
a penny. Bounces. You don't want it to bounce.
right.
correct,
You
so,
don't want that for the whole year.
Well, I can ask them to cash it very quickly and make sure to let the bank know.
or you can, if when you're gonna be giving it to her, go to the bank, close it,
Get the bank check.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
or a
good.
money order,
And I could do that at any time.
and then close the account, and then you know that it's
Great.
certain.
Now, is that marked to just, I'm trying to remember what we did, is that just a Masco or Essex Tech? What was the 1,000 to, a Masco student or Essex Tech student?
We have both.
But
What
who
is-
didn't get, I think it was an Essex Tech student
It
from
was,
last
yes.
year.
Correct.
Is gonna get that, the
Yeah.
one that you're referring to,
Yeah.
okay.
And I do know the family well,
Oh, good.
and I think it's going to be very well appreciated. It's not for lack of effort, we're trying to connect, so things have happened, but I think they're gonna really appreciate it, so.
Mhm.
But yes, one was given away to one. So,
Okay, thank you.
So for me, updates on the fire station, so I think everyone is aware that I attended on our behalf, the meeting, I'm sorry. Yeah, the forum that was held in regards to disposition of the fire station and share ideas. The fact that it's on the septic, there was a lot of feeling that they want to tear it down and create parking in the interim. They don't want to keep the building intact. The cost to do so was probably prohibitive, but I shared that we'd like to talk about more storage, more space, more potential library programs. I talked about the outdoor, maybe some outdoor training or outdoor classroom space. And maybe do a land swap out there, but then there's talk about the
Historical
Historical
Society.
Society potentially moving, and there's a lot of moving parts and pieces, but.
There are potentially asbestos that's in there too, there's asbestos in the building too, it's my understanding.
Fire department?
It's my understanding, they've talked about that,
Uh,
what the engineer is gonna look at, they're gonna look at everything.
Yeah, but
Everything's dependent upon that.
asbestos, it's the first time I've heard about that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
So,
heard fire chief.
but yeah, I'm not saying it's not true, it's just, I
Based
have,
on the building, the age and such.
but, you know,
Isn't it all preemptive upon the engineer?
yeah, I mean, he'll give us, because one of the issues, you know, I think you might try to preserve the garage space underneath,
Which building is held, yeah.
that holds up the hill, and
Yeah.
it has the emergency generator in it.
Mhm.
So, and then, you know, if you're able to, we're able to do that, then, you know, it creates some space in there. You're gonna have additional parking just from the fact that
They're
the
gone.
two Kwanzaa huts will be
Mhm.
gone, and those, you know, vehicles will be gone. The firefighters won't be parking.
Mhm.
And then can turn the apparatus floor, the current apparatus floor, into an outdoor plaza of, to use for whatever programming or enjoyment of people to be
But there
able
won't
to
be
see.
any historical society, storage available, or library, stuff in the library attic will not be able to, because it's a basement.
It's a basement, it's not climate controlled, and some
Yeah,
of
better.
historical artifacts, you need, you know, climate control,
Mhm.
you know, to do it, so.
Which they're not in right at the moment anyway, neither the historical society nor the ones we have, right?
Correct.
Although I think ours
Well,
is.
some, yeah,
Better than the historical
Yeah,
society
right, oh,
basement.
absolutely, yeah, no, anything in our cabinets.
Yeah,
Um,
right,
Oh,
right.
gotcha. Yeah, so I think what we have is better.
If they had.
If it's in the
that,
attic,
it's
it's
so fun.
not,
Or
but
even
if,
in cabinets.
yeah, if it's down here, yeah.
Yeah.
But the historical society is in that damn
It's in
basement,
tough
that
shape.
they're gonna
That's
lose
tough shape.
everything in a few years if it, lost half of it.
Yeah.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
And the septic, can you explain that more? Or-
It's a
Shared.
joint, it's a shared septic with the fire station and us, so it's technically kind of one lot.
But they can cap it. That's what you said, they could cap off the the fire station. That's what you said at the last meeting or something, thought you said,
No,
thought you said that, no?
I don't think so. There's one septic system that's shared,
Mhm.
you know, between the two buildings. And, you know, there's an actual lot that has the fire station on it. But the lot has part of the joint septic system, and it has a lot of the parking that's out in the back of the building. So you really couldn't sell that lot because it
You
has,
have to split it.
you know, lots of,
Is the library, is that considered library land or
The
town
town.
land?
they're both town land.
Both this lot and
And
that
that
lot?
lot, yes.
All municipal buildings are the town.
Okay. So they're two separate lots, even though we share a lot of what they got.
Right, but the town owns every municipal, library doesn't
And
own
by
its
tearing-
building. Lot 5 doesn't own their own building,
Mhm.
police doesn't, it's all
So I
municipal.
mean, it's,
Yeah.
so the.
So
That
This is-
system,
this is the library. That's the fire station.
okay,
And you see the lot that the fire station in goes to behind the library, so the
over to the
parking,
almost historical society area,
well, the historical society is over
right
here.
there. Yeah, but this whole thing is where they hold programs from the library behind the historic, it's all.
We just
that
use
part.
it, it's not.
I know, but it's owned by the fire station, well, it's designated fire station.
So
yeah.
that's why this lot can't be sold. It will not, it will
It can't be
remain in town ownership. And the question will be, you know, how, when, and what will happen in the future.
What an interesting quandary. But the basement, so by keeping the basement, I'm not an engineer. So by keeping the basement of the building. That's protects the septic.
No, that protects
The building.
the,
The structure.
yeah, in the in that basement is the emergency generator that supplies. Emergency power to the library and to the fire station.
Okay, oh, it does for the library as well.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, and then it's like a walkout basement, right? The front of that basement keeps the hill.
The one facing 114.
Correct.
Uh-huh,
So if you took out the whole building,
yeah,
you'll have a major sort of regrading,
real problem,
issue.
yeah.
Then you could retain was.
I think this is probably a mile down the road.
Quite a bit, yeah.
Yeah.
An engineer,
Years,
or
yeah.
So-
years, yeah.
Well, tearing it down isn't, is it?
Well, that's
Very
what they're
costly,
talking about,
but-
it's costly to tear down, it's also costly to keep it,
Yeah.
the upkeep for every year.
Well, and, if you're gonna tear it down and create open space, in the remainder, there's one avenue to get those funds is through the Community Preservation Act. If you keep the building and, vacant buildings still cost money, higher insurance costs and all. That cost has to go to the taxpayers.
That's a dangerous thing to do anyway.
Yes. So I think
Yeah, I've seen old buildings kept and it becomes a huge problem.
it's gonna come down. The question is, how far? All the way to the basement or just keep the basement and keep the.
But
And the engineering look at the building will help determine that.
The expert will let us
but
know.
if, just say, they took the whole building out. Then now we have to have an emergency generator put somewhere, correct?
That's another cost.
And fill in the
Yeah,
hole,
so that's,
in that gap, in the ground.
but it's not so much of the ground, it's in that building. And now
It-
the library doesn't have an emergency generator anymore because you tore down the building.
Well, if you're gonna tear the whole thing, before you tear it down, you have to relocate
The
the
generator.
generator. And that's a cost too, so all of these have got to put into. Be identified and weighed and when you make the decision, what's best way to go forward.
And none of it would happen, as you said, for much time.
Here's time.
Because they've got to all move over there first. They've got to be out of the building first.
Yeah, well, by this time next year, they'll be out.
So about a year, okay.
To be continued.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we shared our thoughts and our opinions and the fact that we were interested in it still being part of our day-to-day interests and whatever that looks like, and whatever that is.
It's even looking on this map, it makes that much clearer even. I don't know if you've seen this map on,
Yeah,
but
that's GIS.
holy mackerel, we are. like,
To our
right
viewers
there.
at home, they're looking at Costa's laptop with their Middleton GIS maps on it of this plot. Okay, moving on to the director's report.
Didn't we, from the minutes, because I was looking at the minutes from March 10th, we talked, I thought we were gonna have, because I put it on my notes here for the agenda, the trustees group that Allison mentioned, that was supposed to be on the agenda.
I asked,
Excuse me.
I asked Loretta to omit it from this month because I'm afraid that letter E here, director's report is gonna be long and we're many months of catching up here. And like to,
Oh, because, I mean, usually directors' numbers are numbers. Can't change the numbers.
Right, when I'm presenting. a
No, I
quarterly,
understand.
Basically. a quarterly report.
Right, but I mean, they are what they are, you can't change them right there.
No, but they usually
Sure,
draw up the
present.
conversations.
I guess, but I'd like to see that, I mean, are we gonna have it on next month's meeting then?
that's what
You put that in for.
I haven't yet,
May's
but
meeting.
I haven't yet. but
Okay,
And while we're just saying this, I'd like to say thank you, and I have been officially. I'm now the president of the Mount Library Trustees Association.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Well, my condolences.
No,
I know you-
say that, no big deed goes unpunished, Alice, and
I
here we
thought I
are.
was going to be the chair, and then they're like, no, you're the president, and I'm like, okay.
You did.
But it's an excellent organization and does a lot for trustees, so I'm very good.
Great, so maybe we'll see it in May, then. Great, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your understanding.
Yeah.
Loretta.
Thank you. So hello, everyone. It's been a while. It's good to be back.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm asking Chair if we could bump the circulation reports to next month. So I've been working on them for the 2 weeks that I'm back, and I was not able to get numbers to match. So I did a little bit of digging and I realized that there was an error in the reporting of, in particular, one category, adult audio. We were not reporting our digital hotspot speaking at me. We did not report our digital usage of our e-audio. So that is a significant. So we're actually over, we were showing a shortage, decrease in circulation this fiscal year. We're actually higher than we were last year on our circulations, which makes sense to me. Because
We talked about that in the meetings and we're like, oh, there isn't.
it's just weird.
It wasn't
Yeah, we're
there,
going
you were
down,
like,
our attendance is going up.
You
and
said
then-
that, you said that.
So,
Yes, I remember that.
It took me a little while to figure it out. But that means I had to go all the way back to July 1st.
Okay.
So now I have, instead of doing just December through, I'm all the way back to July. So,
I mean, I'm a big statistic on that too. I do many,
Absolutely.
many,
so.
yeah.
So it's just gonna take a little bit longer than
That's fine.
originally anticipated, but I will have it done for next meeting. I just wasn't able to get through all that data for this month's meeting. So
Better to be accurate.
with you, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
So with your permission, I'd like to kind of table that for the next meeting.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah, so again, apologies for the delay on that one.
Mhm.
Like Maria said, it's important to have accurate
Yeah,
statistics.
well, and I'm glad that instead of just providing something that wasn't accurate and say, oh, it's not accurate, but here, it's better to take the time to do.
Well, if we're
that.
gonna spend time on it.
Yeah, absolutely, no,
Accurate
that's
first.
appreciated, definitely, instead of giving us something that isn't accurate.
So moving on to the budget report, we are well on our way through this fiscal year. You will see, we're pretty on track for our spending. The only one that I really kind of want to point out is our contractual. You'll see that we're significantly over on our contractual, and that's because of our bibliotemps. We have a contract with bibliotemps. So it's coming out of our contractual line rather than our payroll line. But because, as I'm sure you know, we are down an assistant director. So that'll help put a little bit more money back into the budget while that position is vacant. So I'm working with town admin and the finance director on keeping an eye on this. And so we'll have a better idea where we're at towards the end of the fiscal year. So we have bibliotemps, our part-time bibliotemps through May 1st.
Is that one or two?
Two part-time.
Asher is one,
No,
consider that or
Asher's
not?
full-time.
She's, okay, so it's one full-time?
One full-time and two part-time.
part-time.
So the two
Rachel
part,
is one, I remember meeting someone named Rachel, that
Yes.
she's a bibliotech.
so the two part-time bibliotemps will stay on through May 1st. And Asher, the full-time and one full-time will stay on through June 1st as of right now. To kind of give me a little bit of breathing room to get caught up on my responsibilities, AD responsibilities, go through the interview process for the AD, hiring an AD and onboarding an AD. There's a lot to train for that position.
Any candidates? for
So
that?
we have had several applicants.
Excellent.
a
Are
few
you,
that look
are you
promising.
down to the finalist position or just still? looking at candidates?
We're still accepting applications. at this
Oh,
point.
we haven't closed that.
No, so, I'll be meeting with HR next week to kind of review and, assess and determine who we want to interview.
Mhm.
And then we're looking to start interviewing the final week in April. So. We're getting a little we're taking this out of order, my apologies, that was
that
under
was
the
me.
staffing updates, but.
Oh.
It's budget run, and I guess, so,
The
no,
people.
that's okay.
It's all right, it all
So-
works.
And these are. In the applicant pool so far, you have people that. Have held the position or just people that want to aspire to the position?
How many candidates have you had so far?
Most of them are going to HR, being
Mhm.
emailed to HR, so Jackie has the number, I do
You
not,
don't know? how
I don't
many?
have.
I'm just curious, it's always interesting to hear how many people
Are we
applying.
Are we requiring a master's in library science for
We
our
are not for
assistant
this
director?
position, we're not for this
Or Are
position.
we getting?
It's preferred, but
It's
not
preferred.
required.
I think, yeah, it says preferred one. doesn't
Preferred,
it?
not
Yeah, it
required.
does say it though. Good. It'd be nice
This
to-
position is heavily focused on. Numbers, it's really, you're tracking spending, you're tracking payroll, you're doing the scheduling. So it's just a lot of working with a lot of numbers, so I'd love to see someone with background in business or accounting, or finance background,
Library
just so.
master's degree would be beautiful, if you could get that. If you could.
Agreed,
You
I'd
can.
love to have someone with a
Of
master's
course.
degree,
In
but,
library.
I think
Yeah.
it's. The people that have held this position say, I don't feel like a librarian. Because it's far from, your typical library work, what you're looking for, so people usually get an MLS. With an idea of focusing more on like,
Mhm.
your stereotypical library work,
Mhm.
and less about bookkeeping, so.
I'm
So I don't
wondering if there's
wanna-
any way
I
to
don't wanna require
offer a
it,
little bit of, cataloging, you get to do payroll and catalog.
if there were time,
Yeah.
but this position, it's a lot, it is a lot. So, I don't want to turn away people that have a strong, accounting background, but don't have an MLS. That may be a good fit for this role, with management experience and accounting experience,
I mean,
bookkeeping
honestly,
experience.
I mean, I don't know, but I find it hard to believe that you would have people applying for a job, looking at a library, thinking they're an accounting person, and they're looking at a library for that job, because it's not an accounting position. It's library assistant, so I almost feel like you wouldn't get that kind of person.
Well, we spell it out in the job description, what we're looking for.
Right, but I'm saying when someone's looking at library and municipals, they're not looking at the library for an accounting position, it says assistant director, so I don't know, I think you'd be
It's-
hard
it's-
pressed to get that,
and
unless they
that's-
knew.
Well, and that's, in libraries, if you're looking at management positions in a
Mhm.
library, there's going to be some aspect of.
Right, you'd have to be elected, so I would think a
So,
lot of them would
um,
be striving for an MLS, I don't know, we'll see.
From my experience, the libraries, it basically depends on the director and how they want to divide up the responsibilities. Fairly similar to a school superintendent and assistant superintendent. Maybe
Gotcha.
one's the business person, one's the academic.
Oh,
So the
big
director,
balance.
I've seen it divided up in many different ways.
Mhm.
Where the director prefers to do the outreach and the state work and, and the assistant director does the in-house kinds of stuff. So there's a lot of ways to divide it up.
But, if whoever gets hired, likes libraries, wants to make a career in
Mhm.
libraries, wants to become a library director, they will get their MLS if they
Yes.
don't already have it, so.
That's what I'm saying, I would like, it'd be nice to see that
Yeah.
in there. in the
Right.
mix.
But I'm saying, I think it's for this position, we don't wanna lose anyone that may not have one yet.
Mhm.
So you will see, for those that are looking at the budget report in color, that the payroll for December through March, the balances are 0 and they're in red. Those are the months that payroll was handled at town hall, so I don't yet have those documents, so I'm unable to update our payroll balance. So that's why it's marked in red.
I
So
have that circle, cause I was like, what? Why was that zeros? That made me
everyone
sick.
volunteered while I was
Yeah.
gone.
Merry Christmas, everybody,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think so, alright, I was
No, so
wondering
that's
that.
why, so all
Thank
those
you.
records are still at town hall, I don't
circled
yet
it.
have copies of them to update our in-house document, but as soon as I do. It will get updated, so hopefully for next month, you'll see numbers plugged in there.
And why is October 70,000 and then, that big bump there, is that right?
Number of pay periods.
Is, I was gonna say, so that one is a 3 pay period month,
It is?
yes.
If you get paid every 2 weeks, then, some, though, how it falls,
That's huge.
there's an extra pay period. So, it's not worth looking at the month, it's looking at, the year to
right.
dates and.
Okay.
You'll see that, May is gonna be a 3 pay period month as well.
Yeah, there's
So
2
you'll
a year,
see-
we always used to.
We don't
let-
have any here on the great ones. Yeah.
On this side of the pen.
But that's a great question.
At least I'm looking at the numbers, Loretta, the
Yes.
0 and the 70,000 and the
Good eye.
minus 21, okay,
Uh,
I'm paying attention.
So going through some of the invoicing, I did find that there is a contractual overpayment. There was 2 payments made in earlier this fiscal year to ENE for $4,600 and, well, $4,640. So they're cutting us a check,
Who's?
our HVAC system.
Oh, yeah, HVAC.
Our contractor, yeah.
They're local, they do a lot of
Yes,
municipal. business.
they're great. So
How did the overpayment happen?
Doesn't matter.
I'm not sure.
No, it doesn't matter.
No,
I-
it doesn't matter because it was fun.
I'm not
No,
entirely
it
sure how
doesn't.
it was paid twice, especially where we have to enter the invoice number in Munis. I
Right,
don't know.
Hmm. maybe they took the wrong invoice number by, mistake.
Maybe, and that's why it didn't
Yeah, they
show
don't-
that it was paid.
correct.
I don't know.
That would be the only way.
Yeah, when in the year that happened, did it happen at the turn of the beginning of the fiscal year or?
It was early in the fiscal year. It wasn't at the turn of the fiscal year. It was early in the fiscal year that it was paid twice this fiscal year. So they're cutting us a check. I will put a journal entry, it'll get put back into our contractual line. So it's not quite spent down as much as it looks. We'll get a little
4,600,
bit.
another 4,600 helps.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is, of course
that's
it
fine.
is, yeah.
So it will be adjusted.
A small
next-
budget like ours,
next week.
that's good money.
It's significant.
Mm.
So once that gets back into the account, it will be reflected on the budget report. So hopefully it will be for next month, but I'm not sure
But you know what's coming.
the timing of the check, exactly. So that's it for the quarterly report on the budget report. But I'm happy to take any questions. Maria, if you spot anything else, let me know.
I agree.
With your.
I think Costa and I are always spotting numbers, it's in our blood.
I get it.
I just noted all the zeros. Staff training, nothing, office supplies, nothing,
Office,
postage, nothing.
where are you looking?
I'm just looking across the lines where there are so many zeros, that's all.
At the very bottom.
Yeah.
These-
Oh, up top.
Those are town, so the bottom portion of the budget report are town accounts outside of the library's operating budget. So that's
That's why.
money that can be dipped into like for, well, we're part of the town-wide IT. So our IT gets paid out of a town account, no longer in the library's operating budget, but it's still an expense that is generated by the library, so that's why I put it on our budget report. So our photocopier is part of an IT, town IT, our phone is part of town IT. Staff training, the town had at one point sponsored me to participate in the MMA Suffolk University Municipal Leadership Program. So that's why that line was in there, but we haven't used any town money for additional training outside of what we have in our budget. So that's why that category below, that box down below.
So
is
can I
there.
just ask under the top, under services, the next to last one, program?
Yes,
So we seem to be, well, March was a cheap month, but. So what happened in January B? What's January B?
so that was a payment made out of state aid, $3,246. So if you look down the column, it's just the one state aid payment. And that was made to an employee for the education stipend reimbursement.
Okay.
So that was on a second warrant for the month of January, so that's why there's a second column.
You scroll down, you see,
I do, I just see the 0 up here at the top.
if you scroll down,
And
you'll see it.
then down, I see it.
Right, so the only thing on that second warrant was the state aid payment.
So instead of coming out of. I don't know why
It
we
didn't
call
make it in,
program.
it didn't come out of programming, it came out of state aid.
Right, so, okay.
Does that make sense? Did you see where I'm?
Yeah, I
Okay,
certainly do, I
perfect.
certainly do.
Anything else?
Nope.
No, thank you. Moving on. So staffing updates, we discussed AD position, discussed biblio temps. So I will keep the board posted as we move through the process of hiring an AD. Talking with HR, it looks like, just timing wise, it may not happen. We may not get an assistant director until end of this fiscal year, beginning of next. Just realistically, we're already in April, so it will be a little while, but we'll see how things move along. Building updates, I kind of wanted this to be a discussion. Only because I know about some of the things that were happening in the building, but if there's anything that, that happened that you wanted to talk about or had questions about, I'm happy to answer what I can.
I think Justin did a great job keeping us in the loop, or at least me in the loop as to what was going on. And when there were little issues or glitches with heat or other things, he just let me know there was a situation, they fixed it and moved on. So he was a good communicator, but I don't know of anything that needed discussion, any problems that.
I did have a question. I don't know if it's answerable, but it's just to put it out there. The light situation is pretty crazy.
That's right, those lights.
It was pretty crazy that the little robot was not listening to us. Was ignoring us and turning the lights on when it was programmed not to. Is that what I hear?
So it's the computer's old at this point, and it's just kind of, it's glitching. Really, it's what it's doing. So some of the programming, so we're seeing that it's when we program in the holidays, they're not sticking. So sometimes the lights are coming on a Monday holiday, or the Friday after Thanksgiving. Those days are not sticking, and it thinks we're open on Saturdays. So the lights are on Saturdays all the time. So if you see them off on a Saturday, it's because I was able to get here to shut them off.
So you're still having to manually?
Yes, override on a Saturday and occasional holidays. So, because you cannot program Saturday in and have it stay, like it
You
doesn't
can't
stay.
program Saturday to be off.
So it is programmed to be
Yeah,
off,
but it won't do
but
it.
it, when it goes to run that schedule, that cycle, it doesn't see it and it turns everything on.
And so.
So we've worked with the company, unfortunately, they no longer really service the unit that we have, and there's no parts to replace what we have, so we have to replace the entire unit itself, and that's where the significant.
So that's what that
cost is coming in,
40,000
and we have
because
to,
that shocked me.
yes, that's part and installation.
This should be something a lot cheaper than today's
And that's,
world.
so we're going out to
Yeah,
bid for
yeah.
this,
Me-
so
McGinnis
that was just
looked
our
at that.
initial, right?
Lance McGinnis, the electrician, looked at that.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
he's great.
Lance is our electrician,
Yeah.
Lance McGinnis, electric.
He's
McGinnis.
great, great.
They're
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
They come in and they
In town, it's very helpful.
do all our lights inside and out.
Mhm.
So he was the one I reached out to first.
Yeah.
So he and I spent hours in this building trying to get that reprogrammed, hours with tech support. It just,
Yeah,
it
helps
is what it
clean up
is.
the
It's an
bathroom.
old unit.
Yeah,
So,
is it worthwhile to just disconnecting the unit and have the last person out turn off the
It
light?
doesn't
so
work.
that's what we're doing right now. The last person out always shuts it off.
Doesn't hold.
No, so, that's a great idea. But there are the programming for the security down the hallway.
Mhm.
There's just a few lights on in the building that stay on. So without the computer, everything would go dark.
Mm.
So it's not ideal. It's not ideal to have them come on either, but,
You're working on it.
we are working on it.
We're in progress.
Work in progress.
And I did inform the resident, we brought it to our attention.
Oh, perfect, excellent. I do love that people are so concerned about. their
Well,
library.
we've talked about it when the ones in the back, remember the parking
Yes.
lot? And I said I came to drop a book off and it was pitch black, and then you said, geez, it shouldn't be, and there was something wrong with those lights. And that even, I said, the inside, they're like, what, and it kind of just stands out when the whole building's lit up at 11 o'clock at night. You know, when you drive by.
Yeah.
It's right here.
Exactly. It's right in the
Everybody
center of
sees the
town.
lawn.
Everyone sees the library, so it's really nice that people are looking, looking out for the
Absolutely.
library, it's nice.
That's why we're a small town. It's nice.
Exactly. So we did have plumbing issues the other day, that was quickly resolved, thanks to Jay's Septic for being so responsive.
This is in addition to what Justin came and
So
mocked up.
that's the one. And that was all on the library side, so we paid the entirety of that bill. If it was after the divider, it would be split between the fire station and the library, as Costa so kindly pointed out on our map, we share one. But the blockage was on our side, so that was cleared, we will pay the bill. And we'll move forward.
It means that.
Do we know why that happened?
We have old plumbing.
Huh?
We have old plumbing.
So everything.
Temperamental.
It's
That's
the
the
paper,
answer.
it's the
Old,
paper.
old.
Yeah, don't
Paper.
flush anything that's not supposed to be flushed. We have signs in all the stalls.
Yeah, of course.
So,
But people don't
but
always
people
pay
don't.
attention.
Right.
Like grandchildren, kids, no question. Justin went above and beyond, that was just pretty funny. To get that email from him, it felt so bad. And what was the other thing that we had to deal with? The plumbing or
There's heating
It was
issue,
HVAC,
the kids were,
yeah.
I think.
So. The heating in the story hour room. That has been an ongoing issue. It has been resolved. So there were there's 3 heaters in the story hour room. 2 of them leak. There's a valve that leaks. So when it's on AC, it's fine. When it switches to heat, that's where it leaks. So when we switched over to AC last time, they shut the valves. They shut the valve so that it wouldn't leak. And then when we switched back to heat and it started leaking, they only turned on one of the units, which couldn't keep up on the really cold days.
Oh, this was cold.
Yeah, so the story hour room would stay cold, just because it would, high ceilings, 1 heater in a room designed for 3. So it wasn't able to, so they came in, they replaced the valves and they got it all nice and toasty.
How didn't they just replace the valves initially?
So when it wasn't part of the switch over, so if they came in to do it, it was an extra charge and it's $120 an hour. Whereas when it's done, during the switch over, it's part of our preventative maintenance. So we don't pay for the place, we just pay for the. And we didn't need it for the AC. So we said it's better to wait, save yourself the money and do it when we come to switch over for the heat. So.
I just
Where
don't
did that
want,
come
I just don't wanna count pennies to our detriment so that if a pipe freezes now, we've got.
It's never gonna freeze, no,
Well-
we have, because we switched over to glycol, but also to that, the sink unit is on an interior wall, so we were okay, that was never. an issue. So the other HVAC issue was, I think, in the meeting room, maybe, but that was just that it was pulling cold, outside, we pull outside air. So on really, really cold days, like sub-freezing temperatures, we're pulling sub-freezing air inside to try to heat it, and the system will stay running, and it just can't heat it up to 72, 74, whatever the thermostat is set at, because the air is just too cold. It will never get up really above 70. So that's after the pandemic was recommended. I think it's 25 to 30% outside air gets pulled in.
So, are there any, town funding sources that would, help offset geothermal or some other type of, energy efficient upgrades? Well, a geothermal in conjunction.
No. I mean, no.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
The,
Okay, next to it.
the money would have to, come from somewhere. There isn't any pot of money already existing within town that will help pay for that. So,
There are they're in past administrations, there were always grants for green energy,
National Grid.
yeah,
well,
That,
no, we,
but
we can't,
we can't have that.
because National Grid doesn't service Middleton.
We
Right.
don't have National Grid, we have all the-
And the funding for those programs comes from the ratepayers. So National Grid, adds, some amount to everybody's, bill. Creates the pool of money that then it, gives grants to projects like that.
you mentioned bringing in outside air, geothermal would bring that outside air up to 53 degrees, so it's a preheater, but it's also a pre-cooler for the air conditioning. It may save us dollars in our electric bill and our heating bill that may offset the cost of that investment. But again,
It is. Geothermal is expensive.
I understand that.
So, yeah, the payback is over, decades, not
Yeah.
years.
But there is a payback,
Yeah,
and maybe,
And the library will be here.
yeah, I was gonna say it's a long-term investment. I know North Shore Community College just did it. A lot of them offset considerably, so just something to think about for the future. In those investments, when I brought up, a really large. I said not right now, but we added from here to where the fire station is and incorporate the historical society and add other rooms, meeting rooms, and one of the select board members said that I was crazy to be talking about a multi-million-dollar project right now while we already have them going on. So there wasn't much of an appetite for it, but I wanted to plant the seed that, this, like you just said about people noticing our lights around, they notice this building, and if it's expanded, because we need the space, whether it's 5 years or 15 years down the road, and you add on to use that space and have other parts of government in there, and if you're gonna start to do that, then you can do those upgrades then to have the heating and.
yeah, I mean, there's. A lot of things that we could do, but I think the mindset of many of the residents is, okay, let's take a pause.
And I'm.
We're
I'm in agreement.
doing this
I'm in
big,
agreement.
investment in that complex.
Yeah.
Get some breathing room and then we can go back.
Yeah, one of our debt services is about to be paid out too from some, I
One of the schools, I think.
think so.
And
Isn't it?
Well, the library debt service,
Yes.
pays off, in
27.
27. But the overall town's debt service isn't changing because when the bond for the municipal complex was structured as such, so that the payments on that bond increased, when the library comes off, when the Howe Landing drops off, so the
Yeah.
overall impact on taxpayers kind of stays flat.
That's appreciated, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, as well, so.
But, after a period of time, other needs, like you've talked about, will start being talked about, and then. Perhaps there will be more of an appetite to take on additional
think-
borrowing.
And that 3 million that you posted, not you, but I mean the town posted, that was that 3 million savings that you said under budget, is that from the 10 million?
Yeah.
Or from the 60 million,
From the tenant.
not the 60, so we're still gonna take 7,
So, yes,
67 million.
Yeah.
I was hoping it meant that we didn't spend the 10, that's very unfortunate. Made it sound like it was from the 60.
no, it's,
It gave the impression, to me, it gave the impression like we're under budget by 3 million.
Yes.
Well, we're not under budget by
No.
3
well,
billion.
it was 61 plus 10, that became the budget.
71,
So now it's
68,
probably a little less than that, it'll still, say, and they're still holding contingency, within the budget, that if it's not needed, then when it's finished, then it'd be even less, so.
Maybe that should be put out there, cause I think it kind of,
We should keep going on.
Yeah, but-
Library business here.
well, that's okay, this is important.
It's,
$68 million
As
is
I said, it's not
important.
important, I'm just. we're-
I get it, I get
I
it,
understand,
Mark,
but I
but
think-
$68 million is a lot of money to
Yeah.
the people of Middleton, whoever's listening, as you will say.
Understood. Well, they're all listening.
Yes, all 0 or 1 or 10.
So that's a good list, lights, plumbing, the heat in the children's room, the heat outside in the meeting room. Those are all good things, was there anything else building wise that happened?
Just the updates from the capital planning, but that's moving along.
That was wonderful, I was so pleased to see how they're budgeting that report, how they're able to cover it, and the things they're gonna get done. I thought that capital report was wonderful, and the way they're handling it is very good.
Good.
Yeah,
Glad.
yeah.
So on to program statistics, if everyone's ready. So these are a lot of numbers, so do we wanna take it month by month? Does everyone?
I'm more interested in year to date
Yeah,
compared to
perfect.
last
That's.
year at the same point.
perfect.
Because month to month doesn't really tell you.
Okay, good.
I agree.
So everyone had a chance to look through December, January, February, and March, those
Yes.
beautiful colorful program statistics sheets.
I printed them out in black and white.
Well, that's fine, that's fine, but the digital version was nice and colorful.
A lot of cancellations, I don't know if it was weather.
So we had illness go through the library, and then we had library closures in February.
You had what? I'm
So,
sorry.
illness.
Illness.
Go through the library. So that accounted for some of the cancellations, and then we had snow closures, 2 days that we were closed in February.
Why is in this December,
Okay.
there's December 9th, the open gameplay for tweens and teens, it's in red. Everything else is in black.
So purple category is children's programming.
Okay.
The blue is teen. So we record those separately, but because that's a joint program, we put it in red so you can see that actually would kind of goes. It goes in, it could fit into either category, but we're recording it under the children's category.
Oh, who's that? So, yep, okay, good, thank you.
You're welcome, and you will see that on subsequent months as well.
And then can you tell, the winter festival on December, how do you count, is that people coming into the building, 101 people, the winter festival?
Yes,
Coming right into our building?
yes.
Okay, because the winter festival is across the street.
No, they start here.
With the movie.
Grinch.
Oh, the movie, forgot about that.
Fire
Okay.
chief from-
Yeah, so
Forgot
this
about the
year,
movie.
that's okay.
Mhm.
So this year was the first year we did photos with the clauses too.
Oh,
So we had a
okay, cute.
backdrop courtesy of the Friends of the Flint, and that was very popular. So families got to have a family portrait with Mr. and
I'm
Mrs.
glad I
Claus.
asked, because I was wondering, I'm like, how did that know?
And then they were able to go, so we did that right in the hallway.
Nice,
So it
very
was just
nice.
easy flow, so people could, as they were walking in,
Go
sit
up
and
the door.
pose or go into the meeting room.
It's easier.
Then they continue on,
Yeah,
right?
very nice.
So then we did the movie after the photos, but it was actually, it worked out really well because we just used their cell phones. So they, handed their cell phone, took the picture, and they went home with the photo and could put it on social media, put it
Oh,
on their
nice.
business
And
card,
you
whatever
could
they
too.
wanted to do. Yes. So,
Nice.
we'll do that again this December as well, because it did seem to be, quite popular.
Great, thank you.
Mhm.
I think overall, the number of cancellations versus the number of programs that actually happen is really
Small.
not terrible, yes.
Just the winter.
So some were if we're looking at December, some of them were ukulele fusion, and North Shore folk sessions, those were the same people, they canceled for the month of December, so, I mean, they canceled. So it wasn't like
So
a
no
cancellation
show,
on our,
no show means they cancel.
right,
Mhm.
Understood. And again, that's
So-
bound to happen.
it's not everything you see on there is canceled, it's not necessarily canceled by the library, some of them were canceled by the.
Understood.
So what you've seen or what you received in the packet are just the monthly numbers. The report that you're talking about, that will show up in the circulation report. So the year over year, month over month, we'll take a look at next time. So I apologize, I don't have that for you
No
this go
problem.
around. But it will have that breakdown next month.
You know, in terms of programming, have you ever looked into doing some programming along the lines of helping kids be with financial literacy?
Yes, actually, there was, I think, trying to think what month it was, Felicia did a teen program where it's upcoming. But yes, and I will get that definitive answer.
That's coming up
Or we just did one, and I think it was in partnership with,
It's not on our list of already done. Like the months that have passed,
with
something new.
Tri-Town Council. I remember, I found, but again, let me check with Felicia, because I'm pretty sure.
Because, you know, I read an article recently, about many community colleges and universities are having classes in adulting, teaching
Mhm.
kid, you know,
It's a huge thing now.
Right.
you know,
Yes,
people, you
sir.
know, financial
How to write a
literacy,
check.
yeah,
Mhm.
even, you know, how to sew a button or things that
Boil water, yeah.
years ago, you know,
Wood shop.
People just- you know, parents taught their kids, but, you know, we've gotten away from them, so we have a generation of
Schools used
kids.
to have economics and wood shop and all that.
I know Tri-Town Council has put a strong focus on, they're calling it, life skills, I think, something along those lines, life skills. So, like I said, and I could have just been reading this in the Tri-Town Council's newsletter, but I'm pretty sure there was talk on, yeah.
Oh, that'd be good to hear about.
I mean, that's why whenever Annie reports that 115 kids counted candies in the jar, I think this is a perfect opportunity to do something like Costa's talking about and kind of create a financial program to go with counting candy. There's all sorts of fascinating costs of the candies, statistics of
Well, that, I mean,
averages.
I understand what
that
you're
kind of
saying. I don't think it would necessarily work for that one, just because that candy guessing is a passive program, but I understand what you're saying, but if we can tie something in, right?
We have so many darn banks in this
I
town.
was just gonna say,
Well,
Is there
we've
somebody-
approached them in numerous times, and they won't do it.
really?
But yeah, it's amazing.
When,
I've talked to every bank that's in town about it for 10 years.
Have you talked to Chase?
Well, that's.
Since then, they just, and driving by, I never seen anybody in there.
But
you
that's
have the
new.
time- you have the time?
It's new to the town.
it would be a good-
Salem 5 is very good about doing stuff
When,
like
when
that.
I was on the school committee, we had introduced a financial literacy program and we had the bankers come and.
Where was that in the school, the elementary?
Yeah, elementary,
Oh,
yeah.
wow, at elementary.
Yeah, that's, I mean,
That's
that's
a
where
great
kids
time.
develop habits at
Absolutely.
younger ages, and I
That's
think,
why
I think
asked.
younger is better.
Let me tell you, my mother had budget envelopes, and if the United States had big budget envelopes,
Yeah.
there would never be a problem,
I
because
agree.
you did not spend it if it wasn't in your
Yeah,
budget.
I
Your
agree.
envelope,
An envelope
I
for
remember-
gas,
I remember
electric,
layaway,
you know, Christmas,
yep.
everything was budgeted, because my father was the only
Cash
one
and
that was
carry.
working, and there were 4 kids, and yeah, I lived on a budget.
I think we could,
So we have offered, different programming, kind of life skills and, you know, internet
Life
security and
skills,
things
I
like
like
that.
Mm.
But I'll look into this with
Yeah, you think
Felicia
maybe Felicia
and
has
and Jackie, our
Yeah.
children's programming librarian.
Great.
See what we can come up with.
Nice.
yeah, I'd be happy to get involved too. I have a, if we can't lean on, not lean on, it's not the right word. If we can encourage our bankers within the town. I have a friend that's very, very active in the community in general, not in this town, but he's a banker and he ask him and we'd happily put on a class. We should probably
A
maybe
program.
create some sort of curriculum guideline, or I guess it's not up to us to do that, but
Mm.
think through some points that we want, that we think are important to be brought.
The
See
life
that
skills that we're
class.
talking about.
But you can just budget, like you said, envelopes, or, you know, hey, if you make $100, you can't spend 110 every week.
No, my kids get my grandkids get 3 jars, you know, to donate, to spend, and to save.
I think that would be a well attended program.
All right, I
The
will.
basics are very, very important.
All right, great, thank
Thank
you.
you.
I'm sorry. Are you done?
Oh, next question. Go. If you-
I just wanted to ask about yoga, because it got canceled tonight because of the meeting downstairs. And then it's canceled the following week because of the holiday, right?
It's canceled on the 28th, I believe it is,
I think the
because,
21st too, right? Next Monday? Next Monday's a
right,
holiday.
we're closed on
Monday,
for the
we closed
holiday.
Monday for the
Mhm.
holiday. I meant to be canceled.
So
but
there are
closed.
two that we had to cancel, 2 evening yoga that we had to cancel for the town meetings to be held in the meeting room downstairs.
So tonight
And then
and the
It was-
28th.
yeah.
I was just
And the
wondering
28th.
because, I mean, some people who I know attend that were, you had let them use the room in the children's room one time when it got canceled, but they asked about that and they were told no.
Right, it was too full last time. That, once you get the mats in there, it doesn't hold everyone and then you're exceeding.
Well, you don't
capacity.
always get
No.
max, but you can always say there's a max of whatever.
Right.
not
and then we're
cancel the
turning
whole
people, so,
program.
No, and then we were turning people away.
Well,
so.
that happens anywhere, even if you got a
And-
max in the room, the AB, I mean, if it happens, yeah, that's not. Things like that can happen, no matter what room you use.
So.
It's a
uh,
shame I'm just saying, it's a shame they were very disappointed that they're out for 3 weeks.
When we have our overarching building over to the fire station, we'll have the yoga.
There you go.
In
It'll be
the, on
heated-
the
it'll
cold
be heated
floor,
and cooled.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Heated and cooled.
that's kind of a cold room, that won't be very
We'll have a
geothermal.
heated floor, geothermal.
With your septic and your generator buzzing underneath.
I don't think so, but it would be good to be able to accommodate people when they see 3 times in a row that they're not able to attend, that's a consistent program.
So someone spoke to you?
Yeah,
Hmm.
a couple of them, yeah, I saw it at Market Basket,
No, it
see
is.
everybody at
Yoga's-
Market Basket,
That's the
Yoga was
trouble, yeah.
popular. for
it's
sure.
it's a very popular program, so
Uh,
it was very disappointing to hear that they weren't somehow.
Once you get out of the routine, it's
accommodated.
hard to get them back too.
Absolutely.
They love it enough, they'll come, I do have faith in that.
Well,
Um,
it's disappointed perhaps though, and I don't like to see them disappointed, it's not good.
no one does.
No, so I just wanted to bring it to your attention.
Thank you, appreciate it. So to Maria's kind of in alignment with what Maria was
Oh.
saying, we are closed Sunday, the 20th and Monday, the 21st. This month, and
Easter.
then, yes, so Easter is the
Easter.
20th, but 21st is Patriots Day, so we're always closed to Sunday before Monday.
21st of April.
21st of April is Patriots Day, yes. So Earth Day Festival is Sunday, May 4th. The library will have the tent, our beautiful pop-up tent, at the Earth Day Festival. And that runs from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock at Rupshnut Park. For those that are interested.
If anybody has any clothes and if they wanna get rid of, Helpsy is gonna be there. To collect all used clothes or, things, so if you have things that need to be.
This is an Earth Day?
Is this clothing for recycling or clothing for donation? Or clothing for donation?
It would, Helpsy is the organization that does it, they collect, some of it is used, is resold, some of it is.
Made into
rags,
Excellent, okay.
or whatever,
So they sort it.
they sort it, but they pay by the pound and. The stream team would get a certain, I don't know whether it's 20 cents a pound or
Okay.
some amount, but it also helps people clean out their closets. With the chance that things are gonna be used somewhere else.
What's the date?
Sunday, May 4th, from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock at Rupshnut Park. So question on the information that you just relayed. Do you have a flyer for that?
There is one, but it's, you'd have to go on, Middleton Stream Team website, and there is Sandy Rupchinock has it, I just came from the meeting, before this. And,
Okay, because I know that
So,
public will be interested in knowing that that's going to be available that day, so we'll hang a flyer on the community board.
yeah, I'll tell Sandy I'll send a text to Sandy to see if we can get a copy of it.
Perfect, yeah, I'd only need one, so that would be great, thank you.
is it the kind of thing that would make it to the, signboard out front?
I mean, I think sometimes it says,
The
Earth Day Festival.
Yes,
May 4th from whatever, 1 to 3 or something like that.
but the specifics, no, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Just because everyone would want
Yeah,
right,
they're
right.
like crazy.
Understood.
So,
Thank you.
so then we will be closed on Sunday, May 11th too. That's before our meeting. That's for Mother's Day. But town meeting, this will happen after our meeting next month, but just so you know, it is Tuesday, May 13th, town meeting. So I will remind you again next month, but that will be only one day in advance, so just so you know. Town meeting Tuesday, May 13th.
And I know there was a big meeting today downstairs to find about
Yeah.
the high rides and stuff like that.
Yeah, Costa and I were down there,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it was very good, very, very good.
Yeah, I
They
wish
did
I
a
had
good job.
known better, I would come early.
Yeah, it was a good, they did a very nice job.
Explaining. I was teaching about to go, so I couldn't.
Now, just, I know that there's been some federal movement on libraries and museums. Is that affecting us in any way from the federal standpoint? Will that affect what Massachusetts gets, which then in turn will affect what we get?
Yes, so that email did get distributed to board members. I know several of you asked me about that. So a lot of the details are in that email. But yes, federal funding affects state funding, which then in turn affect the services that we're able to
It's
provide for
database,
patrons.
was it database?
So our databases will be affected.
But the
on
grants
our
are all being
databases.
moved to the other agency. It's not that the grants aren't going away. It was being moved to a different agency.
So, like I said, the change
I wonder
will
if our
affect
state
our
aid will go
databases.
down.
Time will tell.
Yeah.
And then the other big thing affected too, our Commonwealth catalog, so our statewide catalog, and interlibrary loan. That we, we do see some come in. We lend a lot, or we lend more to Commonwealth catalog than we borrow typically. Which is good. But also, the other thing that will be affected is Overdrive, our digital collection, our statewide digital collection. So those that use Libby, the Libby app, it's our Overdrive, it links to our Overdrive collection, and that is statewide, so that will be affected, our digital content.
Our library is getting together to say, well, we can only buy so much, so we'll buy the romance and you buy the mysteries and that kind of cooperation.
So, well, if it's not gonna be state run, it doesn't make sense to just have one consortium buy one, then we'll have Noble heavily on romance, MVLC heavily on mystery, I'm just making this up.
Right,
But they're not shared, so those in MVLC looking to read
they are
mystery.
shared now.
Correct. But if the statewide system
Funding-
goes,
funding for
right,
it, so
then
that's
we're
just-
gonna have to
they wouldn't
kind
be
of
able
pull
to
back
do-
our collections
To do what
and
you're
have,
suggesting.
right. So, there is talk of what this is going to look like and how do we, manage this going forward. But like I said, the details are in the links that I've shared with you, and BLC, the Massachusetts Board of Library Commissioners, they're updating it regularly, so that will have the most up-to-date information for you.
Thank you.
Good question. That's it from me.
If there's no one else that has anything else to ask or say.
Can I make the motion that we adjourn?
I think you did that last month too.
Yeah.
I'd like to just remind everybody, our meeting May 12th, so yeah, our next meeting is our last. Item. Yes, you may.
I'll
Please say
second that.
all in favor? As opposed, no, thank you all.
Thank you,
Sorry.
everyone.
Everyone's favorite.
I have a selectman question.
Yeah.
Do you want to stop the recording?